Hi, it's Miss Dolores from Baldwin Borough Public Library. Welcome to Thursday's Baldwin Bedtime Books. Tonight we are going to do all about the garden. And something you might not know is that the library has its own garden. So over Memorial Day weekend, Miss Jenny, our library director, and Miss Tracy planted a garden at our library in the beds that were built for us last year by Mission Continues. The reason for planting the garden was because the vegetables and the herbs that were grown were going to be used for cooking programs that Miss Tracy was going to hold. So as we know, the idea was great and the plan did not work out. But we still have amazing vegetables and herbs in our garden. And if you follow our main Baldwin Library Facebook page, you will be able to see posts that Miss Jenny has been putting on about the vegetables, how to take care of them, what they look like as they're growing, and how the garden has progressed over the months. So tonight we're very lucky enough to get a tour from Miss Jenny, and Miss Tracy also is in the video to show different vegetables and herbs that were grown. Unfortunately, me, the videographer, somehow lost or didn't hit the button. I don't know what happened. One of the videos. So the middle bed where there was Swiss chard and kale and zucchini is gone. And I tried to find it for 2 hours today and I don't know where it is. But we still have great footage on the other two beds. So still lots of great information. So the book we're going to do tonight that kind of follows along our journey from planting the garden until now is called The Vegetables We Eat by Gail Gibbons. If you're not familiar with Gail Gibbons, she writes a ton of great kid nonfiction books. As you can see, and you'll see when I read it and show it, there's a lot of great illustrations, very vivid, big and bold, a lot of great factual information that isn't too lengthy for kids to be able to process. So we're going to go to different sections of this book and then show you about our garden and kind of intersperse some pictures, the tour, and the book into tonight's story time. The Vegetables We Eat by Gail Gibbons. Okay, so we're going to jump ahead to how people plant gardens, and then we're going to be able to take a look at the library garden and what it looked like when it first was planted, and a few pictures along the way. How to grow your own vegetable garden. When it gets warm enough, many people enjoy planting, growing, and later harvesting their own vegetables. Most often, they buy packets of seeds that have directions. Okay, so you might see the seed packets. They're all over the stores, anywhere you go, and then you can decide what you want to plant in your own garden. Fertilizers are substances added to the soil as food for plants. A shovel may be used to turn over the soil, and a rake may be used to smooth the soil so it is ready for planting. Okay, so as with anything, if you're planting flowers or vegetables, you're going to need some tools and a lot of hard work and a little sunshine. Some people plant starter plants, so-called seedlings. Most of the time, vegetable seeds or starter plants are planted in straight rows or in circles. And Miss Jenny's going to talk about especially the corn, how she planted the corn and why. Sometimes string or sticks are used to help plants keep in straight rows or support climbing plants. When seeds are planted in a circle and covered with a mound of soil, the mound is called a hill. So you can see the seeds, you can see the little starter plants. They're called that because they've already started to grow. Let's show it up close. So they've already started to grow. So they've already started. So they're called starter plants. A trowel, which is this tool right here, is used to dig small holes for seeds and seedlings. The garden must be weeded and watered regularly. Okay, so the two main waters of our garden are Miss Tracy and Miss Nancy, and they go out every day and they water our garden so that it's, you know, really the soil is really moist and it has a lot of chance to grow. The plants begin to grow. So their garden has a scarecrow. Our garden does not have one. We do have a fence around ours, and you'll see that when I show you the video. So you can see the watering can and a hoe may be used for weeding. Okay. In cities, people may grow vegetables in containers. Okay, so there is container gardening. If you don't have a place, like if you live in the city or you don't have a place to grow a garden, I know that my nephew has does container gardening, and he can still grow things in and eat them as fresh vegetables. Here they planted green beans, lettuce, and tomatoes. The vegetable plants will become bigger until they are ready for harvesting. Okay, so harvesting means like you can pick them off the vine or out of the ground or however they are growing, and you will see Miss Jenny doing some harvesting in the video. So now we're going to take a look at what our vegetable garden looked like when it was first planted in May. So now we're going to go back to the beginning of the book, where it shows what vegetables they are actually planting. And when we start to take the tour of our library garden, you can see if you can recognize any of the vegetables. Look at all the vegetables. Vegetables are the parts of plants that are grown to be eaten. Most are annuals. Some are perennials. Okay, so you will hear those terms for planting. Annuals means that plants grow just one time. They must be replanted every year. So you plant them and then you harvest them, and then that's it for that year. Perennials are plants that grow for many growing seasons without having to be replanted. So perennials, some perennials will come up again next spring, and Miss Jenny will explain which ones in our garden, mostly which herbs, are going to come back next year. It is good for us to eat vegetables. It is good for us to eat vegetables. They are nutritious and help keep our bodies strong and healthy. They are tasty too. We all eat vegetables in different ways. Okay, so some are on the plate, some are in salads, some are in soup, and this is a nice vegetable tray that they made with vegetable dip. So maybe those are ways that you eat vegetables. Vegetables grow to be different shapes, sizes, and colors. Okay, so we're going to join Miss Jenny in our library garden, and she's gonna start at the first bed. We have 3 beds. She's gonna show you the first bed on our library tour.
Hi everybody, my name is Jenny and I'm the library director at the library. I am also a master gardener, and this year we decided we wanted to try to plant a community garden at the library. And although we had hoped that you would be able to help us with it and we could make things together, that didn't really happen. So I'm just going to give you a little tour about what we've been doing and maybe pick some vegetables for you and I don't know, hopefully answer some of your gardening questions. So in this bed we have corn, cucumbers, and tomatoes. The corn was an experiment. We weren't sure how it was going to grow because it's in a raised bed. You can see they're really small and tiny, but we do have some nice ears of corn on some of them. And now we're just waiting for the tassels to die off, and that will let us know that they're ready to pick. They're pretty close. But it's always good if you want to plant corn to plant them in blocks and not rows, because their tassels need to pollinate each other, and that's how you get corn. So that's why we have a nice little block right here. Then we did cucumbers. Our cucumbers do well when they vine up. You can tell that ours decided they weren't going to do that. The reason why you want to train them to go up is because when they're sitting on the ground, they won't get diseases, and things grow a lot better when most of the leaves get sunlight. You can also see it when things are growing. We planted pickling cucumbers. We got a little bulbous one. I'm a fan of pickling cucumbers. They're spiny, but to me, they're tastier, they're sweeter, and they're crunchier because they're made for pickling. But so I just eat them normally, but you're probably used to seeing the long ones. We planted the little pickling ones. They're good. I think that's all we have going on right now. You can see how long this is, and you can see we got a lot of little ones still coming. If you ever see a little cucumber, and we're going to go over and we're going to do some zucchini as well that look like they're going to grow and then they don't, it's just because it wasn't pollinated, and that's okay. It could have not have been pollinated for a couple of reasons, but you can see a lot of them are still coming up, so we're going to have some good cucumbers. And then the last thing we planted here is the favorite among gardeners, I think, tomatoes. There's a really good book called, I think, the $9 tomato or something, I can't remember, and it talks about how much money we put into growing just one tomato because so many things can happen. This is a weed. We only have two kinds of tomatoes here. I think these are Roma, you can see, or they're grape, I can't remember, but they're oblong. And then we have, you know, some sturdy, what do we got, Brandywine and Celebrity, I think. So you want to keep them, and you want them to ripen on the vine. As red as they can go. They're sweeter that way, and they're more sugary. You can pick them when they're green if it gets too cold and ripen them inside, but they're going to be tougher and not as yummy. So these have probably one more day on them. See, they're still a little yellow at the top.
So how did you like the corn and the tomatoes? Let's see if you can find any of those on our pages. Botanists group the different kinds of vegetables according to the part of the vegetable that is eaten. A botanist is a scientist who studies plants. There are 8 groups of vegetables: leaf, bulb, flower bud, root, tuber, stem, fruit, and seed. Okay, 8 groups of vegetables. So we're going to go through them kind of quickly so you can see more of the tour. These are some leaf vegetables. There's iceberg lettuce, there's Bibb lettuce, romaine, and red leaf lettuce. Others are cabbages, spinach, parsley, Brussels sprouts. Okay, what about the bulb vegetables? Okay, so onions. Do you like onions? Sometimes they make your eyes water. Some people love them and some people don't. These are the red onion and the sweet Vidalia onions. There's also these long, kind of thin kind of onion called scallions. You can put those in salads also. How about flower bud vegetables? Okay, we have cauliflower, different kind of cauliflower, artichokes, broccoli. There's purple head cauliflower and cheddar cauliflower. Do you like cauliflower? How about broccoli? How about root vegetables? The roots of these vegetables are eaten. They grow beneath the ground. All right, you have beets, different kinds of beets, all different kinds of beets actually. Early wonder beets, red beets, red ace beets. These are other root vegetables: parsnips, carrots. You might eat a lot of carrots, radishes, rutabaga, turnips. All right, how about tuber vegetables? Potatoes. Do you eat a lot of potatoes? See how they grow? Look where they are. Way down underneath the soil. But stem vegetables. The stems of these vegetables are eaten. Some stem vegetables are perennials. Do you remember what we said perennials were? But they will come back the next year. All right, so we have celery and asparagus. There's asparagus right here. And rhubarb. Do you like any of those vegetables? And how about fruit vegetables? Here are some fruit vegetables that we eat. All right, different kinds of tomatoes. And Miss Jenny showed you the 2 types of tomatoes that we have in our library garden. These are ultra sweet tomatoes, beefeater tomatoes, yellow tomatoes. These are the tiny little round cherry tomatoes that you might see in salads. Plum tomatoes, that is in our library garden, and best boy tomatoes. Some other fruit vegetables are eggplant, cucumbers, and she showed you a different type of cucumber, a pickling cucumber that we have in our garden, zucchini, yellow squash, hot peppers, and pumpkins, and butternut squash. Unfortunately, I lost the video somehow of the zucchini and the kale and those kinds of things. All right, what about seed vegetables? We eat the seeds of these plants. Some seed vegetables grow in pods, and sometimes the pods are eaten too. Okay, green beans, maybe you like those. There's yellow beans, kidney beans, navy beans, lima beans, lots of kind of beans. Some other seed vegetables are green peas, maybe you eat peas, snow peas, and of course the yellow corn that we saw in our first video. And there's the soybean. Soybeans are special seed vegetables. They can be used in many ways. Some soybeans are used to make food products. Soybean oil is used to make many food items. All right, soy sauce, tofu, even in soaps, plastics, paper. Soy is used in a lot of different things. All right, so we're gonna go back to our library garden where we're gonna learn a little bit about the herbs that are growing there, and then you're going to see Miss Jenny actually cut some of the herbs that we can use for cooking or in our salads.
It does better when it's cooler, so we'll leave that. Those are chives. Just get some scissors out here and cut them off. So this is basil. I did a post about basil earlier. Basil is another one of the herbs that you can pick, and it'll go all season long. Just like the bok choy, when it flowers, it thinks it's done. So you just want to pinch off the flowers like you would like some of your annuals, and then it'll keep.
Smells so good.
It'll keep going. But Tracy needs some basil.
The bees love
So,
the flowers on there.
when you pick basil, just like when you pick a lot of things, pinch it. These are called nodes. See how there's new leaves coming right here? You pinch it right above it, it's going to grow into 2. So you can do that with your flowers as well. That's how they get bushy flowers at when they grow flowers. That's how they get them bushy, is they just start picking it so it'll grow. So I'm going to give you these guys. Probably should have brought some scissors out here. So,
Perfect.
is that it? One more? Some more.
I can smell that over
Can
here.
you smell
Smells
that?
so good.
Some more.
Thank you.
And then I'm just gonna, if you don't use your basil or your herbs right away, but you're gonna use them within the next day, put them in water like you would flowers.
Okay.
Anyway, we need to pick these. So it'll grow more. I need to get rid of some of this basil. Basil, you can also freeze it for later and make a whole bunch of pesto.
I'm gonna fill up the watering can one more time.
Okay.
Corn.
Oh. What's this? Oh, tarragon. I don't know how to use tarragon.
I don't either.
But it's just like every other herb. You just cut off what you want to use. We should probably cut some of this. This is thyme, right? Yeah. It flowered a long time ago, so I haven't cut it. But do you need any thyme for your house?
I love anything and everything.
Hey.
We put a lot of oh, did she go in?
I was gonna have her get some scissors.
Oh,
because these are woodier. So we'll time comes back year after year. So this will come back next year.
anything else comes back or?
This will come back. Oh, see, there's a bee. See that bee? He's looking for flowers on my basil. Oh, you found some. None of this will come back. This will. This is mint. Mint will come back like crazy. Lavender will stay and come back, and this will come back. All the rest of these are too. The chives may come back. The rest of these are not going to come back. There's not. But we'll have to cut some of this. 'Cause technically, we should have been, not letting it flower. I was going to ask you to bring some scissors.
Oh. You want me to go get some?
If you have a moment, we'll get it. And then this is mint. We threw caution to the wind and just planted it. But I highly recommend if you do mint of any kind, you put it in a pot and then put it in the ground, because this is going to go nutty. It will easily take over your garden. See how it already started to grow? Mint is really good if you want to just plant it to keep animals away. Deer hate it. Oh my God, this smells so good. And this is chocolate mint. This is just mint. It's just a version of chocolate. I mean, look at how it's already trying to seed. So we need to cut this off. It could be used for tea. I don't know. Mojitos. You youngins are a little young for that. But
Maybe
yeah,
the parents.
their parents. But yeah, you can see like just it vines. It's already starting to try to create a new plant right here. You can same thing with this. It's just going to go crazy if you don't do anything with it. So we can. It's really hardy. You don't have to worry about. Look at this. Look at it trying to spread.
Miss Jenny's trying to contain.
Isn't that, we planted a tiny one, and look at all of the look at the root system it already just put out.
Look at those roots, Tracy.
Oh.
See, remember we were talking about how we were wondering if we should put it in a pot?
Which one is this?
This is the mint.
Mint.
So,
Oh, it's chocolate mint. It smells like chocolate.
so we don't need that much mint. Again,
Could I
just-
take this home and try and root it and put it in?
oh yeah, it'll, yeah. You want some more of it? I mean, this one's
This is good. Add
So
it to
yeah,
my-
mint is, there's a lot of perennials around here. They're in the mint family as well. That just go nutty. You just gotta be careful.
Here, hand me that one.
You want that one too?
Yep.
So this is all from planting on Memorial Day weekend, right?
Yes, and I highly recommend that you never plant before Mother's Day. This year was a good
Lesson.
because we had snow.
I lost half my garden planting.
So
too early.
don't plant before Mother's Day, even if it's beautiful, because you never know. But a good rule of thumb is to plant over Memorial Day weekend.
Listen to Jenny.
So we just planted these tiny ones, tiny little pots, and look where we are now.
All right, we're going to wind up this book by showing what farmers do when they have many vegetables that they have planted, and what happens to all those vegetables. Can they eat them all? No, because there's too many. So what do they do with them? All right, so big sprinkling systems are used to water the vegetable plants. At the end of the growing season, the vegetables are harvested. So just like the library has to harvest their vegetables, so do the farmers. They have water sprinkling system, so because they could not go out with watering cans and water all of that. So they have much bigger equipment. Some vegetables are picked by hand. Okay, so you can see the tomatoes are picked by hand. Other vegetables are harvested by machines. So you see that they're harvesting the corn with a machine instead of picking it by hand, because if you've ever been out to a farm like Trex Farm or any farm, you can see how much corn they actually have. Refrigerator trucks haul the vegetables to processing plants. There, they will be washed and sorted. Some are frozen, some are canned, and the rest will be sold fresh. The vegetables are shipped to stores near and far away for people to buy. Okay, so some go on boats and some go on trucks. And when you go to the store with mom or dad and you're in a grocery store, that's how the vegetables that you see got to their store. At grocery stores, fresh vegetables are on display. Canned vegetables line the shelves. Frozen vegetables are found in freezers. Okay, so there's 3 ways you can get vegetables. You can get them fresh, you can get them in a can, and you can get them frozen. But they were all grown somewhere and just packaged differently. Some people buy fresh vegetables at farm stands. It is fun to pick out what to buy. Look at all the delicious vegetables. Okay, so see if you can recognize any of them that you saw in our video. And then at the end, it just gives some fun facts, like there are about 300 different types of potatoes. Did you know that? The longest bean is called the yard-long bean. It can grow to be about 3 feet. Could you imagine eating a bean that was that long? So just some little fun facts at the back of her books. So again, The Vegetables We Eat by Gail Gibbons. And we're gonna finish up our story time with another little clip from Miss Jenny.
For our first garden, it did pretty well.
Yeah. Did you want some parsley?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Did you want some, what's this? Oregano?
Oregano. Did you say basil?
Yes.
We are big basil people.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Miss Jenny.
Thank you
The
for
garden
spending time in the
tour.
garden with me.
And if anybody has any questions,
You let
you can
me
just
know.
post them.
Yep.
Because Miss Jenny's Master Gardener. She answers all our questions. Outside plants, inside plants, gardens, she knows it all. So thank you for taking a tour of our library garden. Thank you for the tour, Miss Jenny.
You're welcome.